and more convenient and more affordable for citizens, whether it is in reducing waiting times, improving service delivery, or streamlining regulatory and approval processes. We are taking a comprehensive approach to ensure that everyday experiences in Jamaica for our citizens is one of efficiency, fairness, and ease. Madam Speaker, there can be no digital society without a proper system of identification and authentication. A national identification system has been talked about for over 50 years. The government has finally got it done. Jamaica's first electronic identification cards on November 15, 2024. The next step is to develop and expand digital services that leverage this secure and reliable form of identification. With the new electronic national identification cards, citizens will be able to verify their identity securely online, eliminating the need for cumbersome paperwork and in-person visits. This will pave the way for e-government services, digital payments, and more efficient, transparent, and inclusive public sector. Madam Speaker, we are not only making life easier for our people, but also unlocking new opportunities for innovation, entrepreneurship, and economic growth. Madam Speaker, pensioners currently have to complete a proof of life form every 3 months and get it signed by a JP. I don't know how they do it. We will soon be introducing the I'm Alive app, or rather I Am Alive app, that will enable you to use your national ID, your NIDS, to complete the proof of life form from the comfort of your home in no more than 2 minutes. We have
These stories, CVM TV, we're live, but also live as the Prime Minister making his contribution to the budget debate. We can't interrupt the Prime Minister's presentation, so we go back to Gordon House.
which we encourage our pensioners to use. We are currently renovating and upgrading the post offices to modern post offices. So we're going to upgrade the post office to modern post offices and nearer service centers. And we're starting in Mandeville, Black River, Maypen, Santa Cruz, Ocho Rios, Montego Bay, Falmouth, St. Anne's Bay, Brownstown, and Spaldings. The construction schedule is to be completed in the first quarter of 2025-2026, and additional locations are slated for renovation, and they are in the process of procurement. And so that will be Mona, Constant Spring, Halfway Tree, Lucy, Savlanamar. The RGD Spanish Town, Linstead, Whole Harbour, Yallas, Morant Bay, Port Antonio, Port Maria, and Greater Portmore. These will be all areas where persons can go to get their NIDS, their national ID, as soon as they are upgraded. Madam Speaker, I want to now move quickly to the E in Aspire, economic diversification. If we are to secure Jamaica's long-term economic prosperity, we must broaden our economic base and create new engines of growth. This means catalyzing the development of new industries, ones where Jamaica possesses unique comparative and competitive advantages and where we can carve out a niche in the global marketplace. For decades, we have spoken about untapped opportunities in emerging markets. We have recognized Jamaica's potential in areas such as shipping and logistics, digital services, agribusiness, medical tourism, creative industries, and renewable energy. However, despite the discussions, these industries have not yet scaled up into a transformative way. We are determined to take decisive actions to ensure that these opportunities materialize in a sustainable, high-value way that generates jobs, increase exports, and drive inclusive growth. Economic diversification is an imperative if we are to reduce our vulnerability to external shocks, create a more dynamic and competitive economy, and provide greater opportunities for Jamaicans across all sectors of the society. We must invest in the industries of tomorrow while strengthening the foundations of today. Madam Speaker, for decades, we have spoken of the vision to make Jamaica the premier logistics hub of the Americas. We are making steady progress towards realizing this vision. Madam Speaker, the Port of Kingston is a critical element of Jamaica's vision to become a global logistics hub, leveraging our strategic location at the intersection of the north-south and east-west shipping lanes. Since July 2016, we have entered into a 30-year concession agreement for the expansion and modernization of the Kingston Container Terminal. Over US $400 million has been invested in capital improvements, equipment, and advanced geopositioning technology to bring the terminal to world-class levels. An additional $50 million will be invested in 2025 in two more cranes and other equipment. Madam Speaker, cargo volumes at the terminal have surged by 50% since 2017. Employment at the terminal has also risen by 53%. Today, Kingston proudly ranks among the top 100 ports globally, a testament to the strategic advancements we have made. The rapid volume of growth means that we are running out of space to store containers. It is a good problem to have to maintain our efficiency and competitiveness. We are taking decisive actions. The Port Authority of Jamaica is working with the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited to expand cargo storage and construct an additional 15 hectares of space on the Westlands at a cost of US $80 million with potential for further expansion. On the map now being displayed, the area shaded in, well, the map is being displayed, but when it is, the area shaded in red shows the existing area of the Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited, and the area shaded in green is Kingston Wharves Limited. And this area, the area shown in yellow on the map, is the Westlands, where the $80 million will be spent to expand our port. In addition, Madam Speaker, as I had announced in my budget presentation last year, plans are in motion to relocate domestic aviation operations from Tinson Pen to Norman Manley International Airport and reroute Marcus Garvey Drive. This will free up significant additional lands needed for further port expansion. This is shown in blue on the map being displayed. And that's a big investment, Madam Speaker. And we are going to, in short order, see these investments come to fruition. Madam Speaker, I quickly want to say that the government recognizes that there are many roads, orphan roads as we call them. Some of them are in development and industrial estates. And Madam Speaker, the Newport West Road is one of them. The government is taking a proactive approach by engaging the private stakeholders who are willing to invest in the rehabilitation of the road that they use daily. I'm pleased to report that we will be entering into a public-private partnership arrangement with the Port Authority, the Jamaica Customs Agency, the National Works Agency, the Shipping Association of Jamaica, and the Kingston Wharves Limited for the repair of the road infrastructure in Newport West to cost over $80 million. We are actively exploring similar PPP arrangements for other priority areas where private sector collaboration can help fast-track road improvements. Now, this government is thinking differently and acting decisively to find solutions to long-standing challenges. Beyond the port and the lands in the immediate vicinity of the ports, another key pillar of our logistics vision is the 700-acre Caymanas Special Economic Zone project.
Yes.
Now, this has been spoken about so many times. I see the response of the leader of the opposition. He has been in Parliament and would have heard both sides speak about this. And as I said, it is part of my job to deal with these legacy issues.
He doesn't understand.
So, Madam Speaker, this project has been talked about for decades. The government is finally making it a reality with a strategic location near the Port of Kingston and major highways. The Caymanas Special Economic Zone is set to transform Jamaica's logistics and manufacturing sectors, attracting global investment and creating thousands of jobs. Madam Speaker, to catalyze the project, the Port Authority has been tasked with land preparation to address climate change risks, including flooding, bringing basic infrastructure and utilities to the site, creating direct transportation linkages to the container terminal, as well as constructing pre-built space for investors who would wish to come to Jamaica but would rather lease facilities. To date, the detailed engineering designs have been completed. The tendering process for the first phase of land preparation and infrastructure work is completed, and all the necessary approvals are in place. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to report that the groundbreaking for the Caymanas Special Economic Zone is scheduled for the first quarter of the incoming fiscal year. So, Madam Speaker, likely the end of April. So we have gone past talk, we have done the work, and we are now ready to break ground and start construction. So, for decades we have talked about making Jamaica the logistics hub for the Americas. For too long, this vision remained but that, just a vision. But under this government, we are turning words into actions and plans into progress and ambition into achievements. We are not just talking about Jamaica's potential, we are unlocking it. Yes. We are building the logistics hub, creating jobs, driving investments, and securing our place in global trade. Madam Speaker, I have quite an extensive presentation here on tourism and how we're going to diversify tourism. But I'm going to ask the Minister of Tourism to make that presentation. But I want to go quickly to agriculture. Now, I now turn towards a sector that is fundamental to our survival and prosperity. Agriculture, the lifeblood of our nation. Agriculture is not just about tradition, it's about our future. A nation that cannot feed itself cannot be truly independent. Our policy is built on three pillars. First, reducing the cost of food for all Jamaicans. Second, maximizing the productivity and potential of our farmers. And third, improving agricultural sustainability. Madam Speaker, there is no denying it. Food is expensive. Yes. I know how difficult it is, and I am aware of the impact this is having on many families.
And they can't bring it down.
Madam Speaker, this government will not increase the cost of food with more taxes.
Say it again. We will not.
Instead, we have made strategic reviews of tariffs for food that we do not produce at competitive prices locally. A significant portion of every dollar spent on imported food would be taxes. There are import duties, stamp duties, and general consumption tax, not to mention compliance fees and environmental levy. A few months ago, the opposition spokesperson on agriculture said that he would put a little thing on food. Madam Speaker, I believe that he would do it. They did it not once but twice. In 2007, their government introduced the environmental levy, and then in 2015, they increased it. They heap these taxes on the backs of Jamaican people, further increasing the cost of food. We'll not go back to those days. The Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, along with the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, established a working group to conduct a strategic review of all our food imports to determine which duties to reduce. Recommendations from the group are now being reviewed by the Ministry of Finance for implementation. Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize that these measures will not hurt our farmers. In fact, we will be increasing the Ministry of Agriculture's $1.2 billion production and productivity program to help our farmers navigate any uncertainty. Madam Speaker, in 2016, when we received a mandate from the Jamaican people, the level of direct support to farmers was around $200 million. In 2020, in our 2020 manifesto, we indicated that we would move that figure to at least $1 billion through our AgriCare initiative. We have held true to that commitment, and since then, we have provided over $4 billion in direct support to our farmers. Madam Speaker, the government will also ensure through the Consumer Affairs Commission and the Ministry of Agriculture that distributors, wholesalers, and supermarkets do not exploit consumers by inflating prices. Commodity price reports will be published bi-weekly through traditional and social media to keep the public informed and protect consumers from unfair practices. Madam Speaker, as we are all aware, last year was one of the most challenging years for agriculture. We saw our new climate realities on full display as we went through a drought, and then a Category 5 hurricane, and then non-stop rains. The recovery of our agriculture sector must be quick and robust. While a number of inputs critical to agriculture production are zero-rated, the Ministry of Agriculture has highlighted that seeds are not, and as such, are adding costs to local production. I have therefore directed the Minister of Finance and Public Service to do the necessary amendment to the GCT Act to make seeds zero-rated. We care for our farmers. We promote food security now, and we have to increase our international competitiveness and productivity. We will also revise the GCT Act to redefine eligible vehicles to include versatile options like panel vans and small trucks. These vehicles will now benefit from the existing 20% duty concession that currently applies to pickup trucks. In other words, we are removing barriers that limit our farmers' ability to transport perishable goods, equipment, and livestock livestock feed efficiently. You know, Madam Speaker, it's just the things that we do that make sense. No, Madam Speaker, if you look at it, a farmer can easily get a duty concession for a van, a pickup that is essentially a luxury good. Essentially. But what they would really need is a vehicle with more capacity to carry load, which is more practical. And this is when bureaucracy becomes self-indulgent.
Thank you.
That is it. The bureaucracy is just self-indulgent. And it takes a practical eye to look at the thing and say, listen, just get it done. Don't tell me foolishness. Get it done.
Thank you.
So we have to take that approach to transforming the bureaucracy. Because the practical thing is, you need a small truck or a panel van.
Mark, we still don't understand British language.
This government will also move to amend the age to permit the importation of light commercial vehicles from 10 to 15 years to reduce the financial burden on farmers. While our fish farmers have always benefited from these duty concessions, our marine fishers have not. And this is an unfortunate anomaly which must be addressed. So I've given directives that steps should be taken for our registered fishers to be included in the 20% duty concession regime. The effective date will be announced by the Minister of Finance. Madam Speaker, our farmers have faced repeated devastations from drought and storms. After such disasters, there are severe shortages and prices skyrocket. To compensate, farmers replant at the same time, resulting in an oversupply, and in turn, prices collapse. We are seeing this with tomatoes, for example. To address this, the government is expanding our cold storage capacity. Last month, we broke ground for a $124 million state-of-the-art facility in Kirkvine, Manchester. We have also started the procurement process to commence the refurbishment of the Colleyville cold storage facility. Madam Speaker, access to water has been a perennial challenge for decades, but this administration has presided over the most significant expansion of irrigation access in the history of Jamaica. I am pleased to announce that the Parnassus Agro Park, which would have benefited from the Southern Plains Agricultural Development Project, has now been completed. Over 60 farmers have been approved, and this new agro park will commence operation next month. The Southern Plain Agricultural Development Project has now benefited over 800 farms in total. Essex Valley, which would benefit over 1,000 farmers, is almost complete. The contract has been signed for the final element of the project, acquiring the pumps and the pumps for 5 wells. I look forward to the commissioning of this system as your Prime Minister in 2026. The final year, we will start, this financial year, we will start the civil engineering work for the $30 billion Pedro Plain irrigation scheme, which will benefit 5,000 farmers. What we did for our farmers in Parnassus, Comapen, Downs, New Forest, Amity Hall, and Bridgepen, we will now do for our farmers in Pedro Plains. Madam Speaker, as we look to the future of agriculture investment in research, but before I go to that, Madam Speaker, this Pedro Plains project was talked about before I was born. As I said, Madam Speaker, I find myself taking up these projects and trying to these legacy projects which other governments start or toyed around and never completed it. And Madam Speaker, it's not a complaint because when you take the baton, you have to run with it. Yes. But Madam Speaker, you're waiting for the baton and taking so many batons. It kind of slow you up because you want to be looking ahead. But the truth is, this is an important project. It's an important project. It is going to unleash the productivity of that area. And I'm happy, Madam Speaker, that I will be able to commission that project. Madam Speaker, as we look to the future of agriculture, investment in research and development is no longer optional. It is essential. To accelerate this transformation, we are investing $6.3 billion over the next 6 years in the renovation of Bodles and other research stations. We are also actively engaging in partnerships with global leaders in agricultural innovation, including in India. Our own University of the West Indies, the College of Agricultural Science and Education, and the University of Technology will play a central role in advancing research tailored to Jamaica's unique landscape. To this end, we are converting CASE into a fully agricultural-based university. The government is also partnering with these institutions to share important scientific work, such as strategies to improve soil quality. Madam Speaker, this is a turning point. Agriculture must not be seen as an industry of hardship, but one of opportunity, investment, and national pride. We are ushering in a new era where farmers are empowered, where food prices are fair, and where Jamaica is globally competitive.
You only about market which is only about English stuff. Only British stuff.
Why you not clapping? Why you not clapping?
Don't matter what with it.
The Minister of Culture. The Minister of Culture will give us more updates on some of the other initiatives that are there for the creative industries. But Madam Speaker, you will recall the launch of the $1 billion Jamaica Screen Development Initiative launched in 2024. I am pleased to announce that 406 applications were received from local filmmakers, and 259 of these met the criteria for further evaluation. In fact, 7 projects have already been awarded film festival support. A further The 9 films in progress will also be awarded support to complete their filming. And just yesterday, another 51 films were selected for development funding, and evaluation for films at the production level will begin shortly. This is the start of a burgeoning film industry in Jamaica. Madam Speaker, we can attract top-tier movie productions to Jamaica. We saw that with the Bob Marley movie produced by Paramount. And that film, over...
Tonight in CVM News at 7, Prime Minister makes contribution to 2025-2026 budget debate. Foreign Affairs Ministry confident in Cuban medical cooperation program. Suspect in Montego Bay robbery killed by police. Inquiry this unlawful eviction. What landlords can and can't do. And in sports, Zimbabwean elected first female IOC president.
Headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
Should critical illness strike, don't let worry fill your head. Say hello to happiness and goodbye to worry with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan. Secure your medical expenses in the event of critical illness ahead of time while benefiting from more investment portfolio and so much more. Give yourself and your family the peace of mind you deserve with Guardian Life's new Ultimate Provider Plan today. And live secure, live easy.
CVM News at 7, Headlines Thursday, brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy.
You can open a Sagicor Bank savings account from anywhere. Go online and open yours today.
The time by Sagicor Bank is
7 o'clock.
Good evening, I'm Nika Lewis, and you were watching the Prime Minister's presentation in the budget debates. However, we had to interrupt that broadcast to bring you the news, CVM News at 7, and it's Thursday, March 20, 2025. Thank you so much for joining us. As mentioned, Prime Minister Andrew Holness made his 10th contribution to the budget debate today. His presentation expanded on his Aspire plan to drive economic growth, which our reporter Courteney Lewis will delve into a bit more now that she joins us in studio.
So the Prime Minister's speech featured an exposition on programs and commitments geared towards his plan for growth through the Aspire plan. It's an acronym, but it all represents access to economic opportunity, security, people development, infrastructure development, efficiency, and so much more. Here are some of the highlights.
The stakes are high this election year, and unlike his opposition counterpart, the Prime Minister is not vying for a seat, but defending his reasons to stay in Gordon House. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made his contribution to the 2025-26 budget debate Thursday. The PM zoned in on the JLP's perceived successes and Holness's Aspire plan, promising a massive endowment to building generational wealth through the Hope for Children Trust Fund.
Through the Hope for Children Trust Fund, every eligible child will be provided with a long-term savings account funded annually by the government. The funds will accumulate with interest and will be accessible on or after the child's 18th birthday for transformational purposes, such as education and skills training, home or commercial property acquisition, or business investment.
Holness says this financial year will see the investment of $200 million to the fund. But that was not his only promise to Jamaicans as part of his pathway out of poverty. The GOJ's recently announced public ownership of the Trans-Jamaican Highway has seen great take-up.
Speaker, I'm pleased to report that the offer for sale for the remaining 20% of the shares of Trans-Jamaica Highway has been oversubscribed with over 22,000 applications totaling $12 billion. Madam Speaker, Jamaican people, get the message that this government is about creating wealth.
He even hints at the possibility of the Jamaica Mortgage Bank being brought to market. In tackling security concerns, the Prime Minister also highlighted continued investment in security forces.
We will continue to invest in our security forces and support the transformation of the JCF into a modern, professional and technology-driven security force. We will continue to target gangs which account for 70% of murders in the country.
As for further youth engagement and development, works are underway for more apprenticeship programs in construction and hospitality fields.
Over the next 2 years, 300 young people will receive paid, hands-on training alongside industry professionals. Each participant will earn a weekly stipend of $13,500 to $16,500, with a 10% set aside as compulsory savings.
Courteney Lewis for CVM News.
Now I'm still covering the budget. The National Housing Trust will expand its home financing solutions by reducing the deposit requirements for mortgages as well.
In July 1, 2025, for contributors who earn less than $30,000 weekly, the deposit requirement on open market loans will be reduced to 2% if the housing solution being acquired is priced at or below $14 million. Starting July 1, 2025, the service charge on mortgages will be reduced as follows. For prospective mortgagors who earn $30,000 or less each week, their service charge will be reduced from 2% to a loan, will be reduced from 2% of the loan amount to 0. Yeah, so if you earn $30,000 or less, no interest.
The Prime Minister has also vowed to expand the reach of the JUTC to improve attendance and safe transportation for students for the new school year. This follows the implementation of new routes in Clarendon, Morant Bay and Linstead.
Phase 1 is already underway, with the JUTC expanding services in Clarendon, Morant Bay and Linstead, providing affordable transportation for students. We will add 12 additional 45-seater buses to the already existing fleet of 10 buses, giving the Montego Bay area a total of 22 buses. Phase 2 will see 100 fully refurbished buses deployed across parishes, with 60 buses in September 2025 for the start of the new school year and another 40 buses by January 2026.
And that's the Prime Minister. However, we'll have more highlights from his presentation later in the Newsweek. So, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, today provided assurances regarding Jamaica's long-standing Cuban medical cooperation program, expressing confidence in its integrity.
Providing an update on the Cuban Medical Cooperation Program amidst recent scrutiny and public concern, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Kamina Johnson-Smith affirmed that the program, which has been in place for more than half a century, remains a vital pillar of Jamaica's healthcare system. The response comes after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in February announced expanded sanctions targeting Cuba's global medical missions, labeling them forced labor.
Jamaica's non-adversarial handling of this matter reflects not only our practice of diplomacy, but the strength of our bilateral relationships with both Cuba and the United States of America. Our structured process of review and engagement is progressing well, and we remain confident in the integrity of this program. We continue to engage diplomatically, including discussions which I held with the Cuban foreign minister, the current head of the U.S. Embassy, with whom both Minister Tufton and I and our teams met. And of course, as between CARICOM foreign ministers, as you would be aware, we have had discussions. We've exchanged perspectives, and we are seeking to ensure the best understanding and outcomes of this matter.
The minister explains that Jamaica's medical cooperation program with Cuba has been in place since 1976 and has operated under memoranda of understanding that have been upheld by successive administrations. Minister Johnson-Smith also clarified that as the arrangements are being reviewed for renewal of the program, an initiative that got underway prior to the concerns emerging from the United States, the government had at that time taken the opportunity to evaluate and enhance administrative processes.
Given that the MOU had expired last year, the government of Jamaica had already begun a review process, even before any international concerns were raised. So while we have identified a few areas for alignment with our own overseas labor programs and how they are administered, we are confident that the Cuban program is a legitimate bilateral cooperation program, not an example of trafficking.
The foreign minister says the government remains committed to diplomacy as a means of strengthening bilateral and regional relationships. She reaffirmed that Jamaica will continue to prioritize partnerships and cooperation, ensuring that its foreign policy decisions align with national interests and the principles of mutual respect, noting the approach has generally led to constructive engagement and productive outcomes on challenging issues as global discussions evolve. Joel Crosskill, CVM News.
CVM News at 7 continues in a moment.
Join my private room. Only $1,000 for a grand time.
That I know me. We never said that. But who going to believe me?
That is correct. $4,350,000. Yes, go ahead. $4 million? I never approved that.
Yes, me go doctor tomorrow. So me have to get the money today no longer. Then no me face that. We never make no record or beg nobody no money.
Deepfakes are AI-generated images and videos made to look and sound like people we know and trust. They're used to spread misinformation, destroy reputations, and are used to commit fraud and scams. Don't fall victim to deepfakes. Protect yourself. For more information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or scan the QR code on screen.
Digicel, live life your way, no free rewards. Digicel postpaid. With Digicel postpaid, it's all about you. Sign up or pay your bills to stay active for a chance to win a luxurious all-expense paid trip for 2 to Royalton, Antigua. With round-trip flights on us, every week you could win exciting prizes, event tickets, gym memberships, spa packages, excursion adventures, restaurant vouchers, and more. When you opt in on the My Digicel app, life your way starts now with Digicel. Better connected.
Pepperoni, Hawaiian, chicken chunks, vegetarian. There's no pressure to choose with Pizza Hut's amazing 4. You get 4 juicy flavors with 1 less choice to make. Pizza Hut, now that's delivery.
Brunswick boneless sardines, perfect for snacking on a cracker, on its own. Snacking made easy, snacking made healthy, snacking made tasty.
Welcome back to CVM News at 7, and just an update out of the Prime Minister's budget presentation that minimum wage has seen an increase to $16,000 for the 40-hour work week. We'll have more details on that later on. So, bail application for the Manchester man charged in the shooting death of 2 women at a wake in the parish in February has been hit with delays. This as his lawyers say the court is awaiting CCTV footage allegedly of the incident, which saw 2 women fatally shot and a child injured following a fender bender. Despite the challenges, lawyers representing the 50-year-old Manchester resident charged in the Levy Lane shooting death of 2 women and the injury of a 12-year-old persist. Their first hiccup in pursuit of his freedom came this week when they appeared in the Manchester Parish Court.
The bail application was adjourned until the 2nd of April. And the basis for that was that in the disclosure that was made to us, myself and Ms. Campbell, it revealed that there was some possibility of the incident being captured on CCTV. And in those circumstances, we would want to have a look at that, because that will most certainly, if there is clarity in terms of any footage, direct the way forward in a very certain way.
The King's Counsel explains that this does not mean their instructions have changed.
Again, I don't want it to be a case where we are seeking to say too much and appearing to be trying the case in public. In the circumstances, we are going to await the information and put ourselves again in a state of readiness for the bail application.
Champagny says the matter of the length of time to retrieve the raw footage is, however, concerning and odd.
Yes, it is very unusual, I would add, by way of comment. Normally you'd wait on the official report, CFCD, and that would take months. Raw footage is something that I don't see a challenge with, and hence the concern that Ms. Campbell and I expressed in court this morning.
That's a major concern now, though. Give the time, are you okay with the time?
One can never be okay with any time when one's client is in custody. The sooner the better. So from that perspective, we are concerned, and we can't be okay with it. You know, we can't understand why it is that it will be taking so long, but sufficient until the day.
Victims 35-year-old Aldine Dixon, a resident of Colleyville District, Manchester, and 42-year-old Stacey Ann Mulgrave, a resident of Barnstable District, were in attendance at a vigil near the suspect's house when their car allegedly scratched the suspect's vehicle. The incident quickly escalated, with locals claiming the suspect opened fire, hitting several people, resulting in their hospitalization. The 2 women did not survive. The licensed firearm holder was relieved of his weapon before his subsequent detention. 2 policemen are hospitalized and a suspect dead following a robbery attempt at 2 business establishments on Church Street in Montego Bay, St. James. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, has launched an investigation into the latest incident. With the details, here's Trisha Gay Kelly.
Constable Ramon Henry, one of the 2 police officers who was severely injured Tuesday night as he and his partner Constable Tyrone Stevenson responded to an armed robbery at Feng Trading Supermarket on Church Street, Montego Bay. According to reports, the officers arrived around 9 p.m. to find the suspects fleeing, one of which was armed with a rifle and the other with a handgun. As they ran down St. James Street, the rifleman reportedly opened fire on the police. It was during this fiery exchange that both officers were injured. The men then allegedly hijacked a blue 2013 Toyota Isis, firing at the motorist when he resisted. Bullets shattered the windshield and damaged the seats before the suspects escaped in the stolen vehicle. Constable Henry recounts his version of events.
We get flat and across the road, just for go behind the other vehicle and get down again. Me I come, I know it's a rifle that car, you know rifle sound. I'm look my see my foot. My foot like it jelly out, like it just a move up and down, I'm a drop. I have to go on my belly and start crawl to safety, you know.
He said he was later assisted by civilians in the area.
I take out my tourniquet, I see one civilian, I'm tell them to help me put it on, and some of them come and I say, yo, this a man, I want to come help him. I general, and the body come and I say, yo, squad, you good here, no worry, we'll help you. And I see one SO van come and then put me in the van. And then drive off with me, and I look behind the jeep, I see about 6 other police vehicles escort to the hospital.
His partner Constable Stevenson also suffered gunshot wounds to his left shoulder. Both men were admitted at the Cornwall Regional Hospital for treatment. The incident comes on the heels of a supermarket robbery on Monday, where 2 armed robbers stole an undisclosed sum of cash and assorted liquor at the Y&F Popular Wholesale and Meat Mart in close proximity to where the other attempted robbery took place. The perpetrators of both incidents are suspected to have been the same men. Following Tuesday night's confrontation, police launched a major operation at a residence in Go Peace Lane, Salt Spring, believed to be linked to the suspects. Upon arrival, they were met with gunfire, which was returned. One suspect, identified as Joshua Tyrrell, was subsequently found with gunshot wounds to the upper body. He's said to have been clutching a 9mm Glock pistol loaded with rounds. He was taken to Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDECOM, is conducting an ongoing probe into the incident. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
In other news now, environmental advocates are working alongside a crocodile sanctuary over in the east with hopes of creating more public awareness regarding treatment toward crocodiles island-wide. The sanctuary, however, is facing financial challenges which could jeopardize what it has set out to do. Here again is Trisha Gay Kelly.
There are various endangered species in Jamaica that environmental officers tend to pay more attention to since they're at risk of extinction. The American crocodile is one such species, and over the years, there have been increased reports of ill treatment towards the animal. It's one of the reasons why the Holland Crocodile Sanctuary was created in St. Thomas to allow natives to learn about the animal and how it operates in its habitat.
One of the biggest threats when it comes down to the population and species, aside from habitat loss, is poaching, human interaction, all of these things. So a facility like this allows for people, the general public, to come and understand how the animals operate.
The facility is owned by croc enthusiast Lawrence Henriquez, who began the foundation 6 years ago. He explains that the animals are naturally not harmful towards humans.
They don't really want to trouble you. They like keep away from people. But the problem is we don't know how to leave things alone. We just love to go in, and then when we get bitten or something like that, no, we blame the animal. The animal wants you to leave it alone. Don't trouble it.
That's why Henriquez is encouraging more locals to visit the facility, which is free to the public. He clarifies it's a sanctuary, not an attraction.
They can enjoy themselves. Learn about the sanctuary, learn what we do, see animals, take pictures, videos, do what they want. It's basically getting people exposed to this particular species as well as the type of environment they live in, and it's an educational process for them.
But all this is at risk of being lost since Henriquez is mainly funding the sanctuary on his own. Though he sometimes receives funding from external agencies, one wildlife conservation biologist says more needs to be done.
He has received funding from international entities like Hazel and Global, but there needs to be more support, a lot more support. So we are looking into trying to gain more, attention on the facility and support so it can continue to run and it can continue to build capacity, continue to train, continue to do the outreach, the monitoring, and collaborate with all the partners involved.
While the sanctuary is free, it accepts any donations from the public or interested stakeholders. Trisha Gay Kelly, CVM News.
We have some news feed for you, and then query this. Not everyone reacts rationally when they feel wronged, especially when their landlord decides they're no longer welcome, suddenly evicts them and changes the locks. But what does the law say about this? Is your landlord justified simply because they own the property? In this week's edition of Query This, Shante McNeil breaks down the law governing evictions in Jamaica.
Query this. You have a disagreement with your landlord. Maybe it's about late rent, repairs, or even a personal issue. Then you leave for work only to return home to find your belongings outside and the locks changed. How would you react? Was the move legal?
I'll call the police and I have to do something about it. You can't just put me out, sir.
That's illegal, first of all, to break a lease. And then that's just unethical because it was done all of a sudden without any prior notice or anything like that. So yeah, I don't believe that's right.
But I just find the next place to live, you know. I can't find a jailhouse thing that. I think there's a better way of going about it, but they have the right to can do that still. I think so.
Well, not quite. Under Jamaica's Rent Restriction Act, landlords who forcibly remove a tenant without due process can find themselves in legal trouble. Attorney-at-law Michaelia Green, who has handled several of these cases, explains the right way to go about an eviction.
A landlord is not permitted to remove any personal belongings or any sort of property, chattel, in the possession of the tenant during his or her tenancy. What the landlord could do in order to get some possible recourse is to serve what is called a notice to quit in order for that tenant to deliver up possession within a certain period of time, usually 30 days. I handled a case recently pertaining to those exact facts, and the landlord got himself into some serious hot water. So the landlord found himself in a situation where he had to compensate the tenant. Yes, compensate the tenant for any loss or damage done to the tenant's personal belongings.
A valid reason must be given. A formal written notice must be served, allowing the tenant sufficient time to vacate. If the tenant refuses to leave or damages the property, legal action must be taken. And for tenants who have been wrongfully evicted, especially if their belongings were damaged, here's your legal recourse.
Take out a plaint or a claim for the damage and loss to their items. Gather all their receipts so that they can buttress their claim in court to show that this is the value of the items. Or if you cannot find the receipt, because to be honest, many of us don't remember where we put certain receipts, to simply have a similar item of similar value exhibited in their affidavit to support their claim against the landlord in court.
Landlords, there's a right and a wrong way to resolve disputes with tenants. Acting outside the law can have serious consequences. That's why I'm here each week, keeping you informed about the laws that affect you and answering your legal questions. If you have a legal dilemma, email me at cmacneil@cvmtv.com and I'll help you navigate the law. Until next time, I'm Shante McNeil.
There's more CVM News at 7 for you right after this break.
Do whatever the crunch you want with KFC's popcorn chicken. Now available in hot and spicy. KFC, it's finger licking good. The time by KFC is
7:30. These days, challenges are everywhere and things are constantly changing. But independent living remains the same. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it. For years, we have been Jamaica's trusted provider for solutions to improve patient care, safety, and the general quality of life. No matter your age or your physical limitation, we are the caring store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
Attention motorists, it's time to switch to the T-Tag on Trans-Jam highways. Vehicles using the automated T-Tag lane are processed in seconds, so you can pass through the toll plazas far quicker. The T-Tag makes it quicker, more cost-efficient, and safer for our customers. So switch to the T-Tag today and experience the convenience. T-Tag packages are discounted to only $1,500, including a $500 toll credit from now until March 31st.
Jamaica, it reach! Introducing the Mother's Rewards app. The same mother's food you love, now at your fingertips. Sign up easy and get a free patty. Earn points whenever you visit any select Mother's location and redeem those same points for discounts later on. Order your favorites for pickup or delivery. No long lines. Plus, win daily to win prizes and discounts. Yes, daily chances to win. No need for say nothing more. Download the Mother's Rewards app now. Mothers, loving every bite.
Get home with NHT. More possibilities. Get home with NHT. Turn a dream home into reality. From vision to foundation for many generations. Home buyer or home builder. Get to your destination. Get home with NHT. More possibilities. Get home with NHT. The key to your home.
These days, challenges are everywhere and things are constantly changing, but independent living remains the same. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it. For years, we have been Jamaica's trusted provider for solutions to improve patient care, safety, and the general quality of life. No matter your age or your physical limitation, we are the caring store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
Welcome back. We now join Joel Crosskill with the Business Report.
Lots to share with you in the Business Report today about a banner year of net profit for one of the largest banks in Jamaica and the role its online platforms have played in the performance. Anya Schnoor, Chairman Scotia Group Jamaica Limited, led the review during the recent 2025 AGM.
In 2024, we reported net income of $20.2 billion, representing an increase of $2.9 billion or 17% year over year. Scotia Group Jamaica did indeed rise to the challenge and delivered a record year of performance.
Audrey Tugwell Henry, President and CEO Scotia Group Jamaica Limited, credited the dedication of the Scotia team in working towards the fulfillment of year one of the group's 5-year strategy as a key contributor to the performance.
All our performance ratios, return on equity, return on assets, and earnings per share increase year over year and reflect our financial health. I'm proud to report that for the financial year 2024, all of our subsidiaries, and the leaders are here, all of our subsidiaries made a significant contribution to our success. In our bank, BNS, our total loans increased by 16.3% year over year. Our total deposits grew by 7% year over year and shows the continued confidence that our customers place in us.
And according to Schnoor, with more options for engagement than ever before due to a number of digital innovations.
We prioritize technology investments to minimize ABM downtime and renovate several branches to improve client experience. We migrated our clients to our newly upgraded native online banking platform, enhancing and streamlining their customer experience. We launched digital onboarding for new bank clients, offering clients further options on where and when they conduct their banking.
In part, as a result of those efforts, Scotia Group Jamaica also celebrated 6 awards at the JSE Best Practices ceremony in December, whilst also making an impression internationally.
Our financial performance and commitment to excellence was also recognized during the year with 2 prestigious external awards received. The first, we received the award of Best Bank and Best Consumer Digital Bank from Global Finance magazine.
It was from that platform that the BR was interested to learn of transaction data that suggests the general skepticism towards digital banking may have dissipated, at least as it relates to Scotia Group Jamaica.
During the year, our retail clients overwhelmingly chose to engage in our digital channels. Currently, we have 555,823 clients enrolled on our mobile and online banking channel. In our retail banking business, only 1.4% of our over 140 million transactions that we do annually are done in the branch network. In our commercial business, 98% of all commercial transactions are done using Scotia Online for Business. We continue to offer more products and services in our digital channels. In 2024, we were pleased to pilot our new online account opening option for new-to-bank clients. This pilot was highly successful, and we have now fully rolled out this option to new clients seeking to open a deposit account with us.
The first quarter of fiscal year 2025 results saw Scotia Group Jamaica report net income of $4.2 billion, an increase of $1.1 billion or 34.5% over the comparative prior period. And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crossgill.
Online never sleeps, so let's see what's been on your mind in social media.
So, what's trending online today? Let's take a look. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness delivered his 10th consecutive budget presentation today, themed Jamaica's Next Chapter, accelerating growth for peace, productivity, and prosperity. Here are some of your reactions. At Arlene Kelly 754 says, "Let them know my PM." At Candy_21 comments, "History class you come to keep, time come." At Castro_Troy_ shares, "What plan you have to better Jamaica? Joke thing and beat table till in parliament, nah, help the people." At Aja Sunpost, "Andrew mash them down. Can't lose. See them come a hype when them confused." At Leisha Headley says, "Strongest economy, yet very few are benefiting." At King_Kells 876, right? "Facts are facts and JLP brought it all." At Jordy J adds, "Nah, tell no lie. I thoroughly enjoyed the budget debates. Favorite time of the parliamentary year." That's what's trending in our online community today. Continue to share your thoughts with us on X at CVM TV and CVM Television on Facebook. I'm Michael Parr.
Stay with us for sports with Ronaldo Adams right after this break.
Recycling partners of Jamaica. Yeah, we got to make a change, and we have to do it now, can't wait for later. We put plastic in its place, and we all can agree that will be safer than in the gullies and in the drains. Recycling partners of Jamaica. We put plastic in its place, yeah, the place of the clean.